So if you haven't seen it yet, Par and Snake added a couple of updates that quite literally changed the way ABA is played. The first change makes you walk a whole lot slower while pressing the S key, and the other basically removed end lag from the 5th M1. I'm not too sure why these changes were added, but this is bad. Let's first take a look at the S key nerf. To see how much this update really affected walk speed, I ran a quick test. From the exact same distance, this is how long it took to run forwards compared to backwards. As you can see, there's roughly a 7-second difference between these two speeds. This means that running backwards is 36% slower than running forwards. Big difference. Now you might be wondering, why was this even added to the game? Well, according to the devs, it was supposed to nerf runners. Now I don't know about you, but I have 3 other movement keys on my keyboard that are unaffected by the nerf. Also, I'd say running is more of a problem with specific characters and maps, not an entire movement key. I can 100% understand the intentions behind this update, but I really don't think that hindering movement for the entire player base is the way to fix this problem. And oh yeah, if you play on console, good luck having any form of decent movement after this update. I suppose that you'll just have to disable lock on and turn around every time you want to move backwards at a reasonable speed. And I'm not going to sit here and complain about this update and running without giving any solutions, so here are a few that I've come up with. Firstly, big maps should be removed from 1v1s or ranked entirely. Canyon, Outside Cario, and Sokyoku Hill have absolutely no right to be ranked maps. They're massive and have enough room to let someone run an entire marathon within a single match. There's a reason why the majority of the player base likes small maps like Budokai, because it simply does not have enough room to effectively run it. The next thing that can be done is to block off or remove terrain from certain maps. This is especially directed towards Outside Cario. It has palm trees that you can literally climb on and a set of houses that are just asking to be camped on top of. Also, why was Coliseum even added to ranked? It is a massive ledge in the center of the map, 2 huge half walls in the main fighting area, 2 sets of stairs, and then there's this. Now maps aren't the only thing that causes running in ABA, because characters are also a large part of it. There are quite a few characters in the game that quite literally promote running with the way their moveset works. Just take a look at Kizuru, Minato, Itachi, Kakashi, Yama, Gin, Bakugo, Lemillion, Kazuma, Todoroki, Kiritsugu, Natsu, and Gray. These characters either have extremely short cooldowns, very long cooldowns, a movement ability, a ranged attack, an auto combo of some kind that doesn't require them to engage frequently, or a mixture of these attributes. This is quite obviously a lot of characters, so reworking all of them would be pretty difficult. In my opinion though, the best way to fix this issue would be to simply stop adding characters that are built for running. If ranked was also limited to smaller maps, these characters would have a much harder time running a marathon. The opposite problem is true as well. Instead of having a moveset that works well with running, some characters have movesets that are terrible for engaging. Characters like Namek Goku, Busagi Goku, Killua, Neji, PTS and TS Sanji, PTS Luffy, and a few others can do virtually nothing against people who run and turtle. If you want a free win against any of these characters, you can just glue down your F key and occasionally press the spacebar. A couple buffs to their guard breaks would make a world of difference and actually make it possible to win matches. Some of these changes could include making Namek and Busagi Goku's Kame as fast as Krillin's, increasing the size of rotation or reducing its cooldown, shortening the startup of Lightning Palm, and so on. That about covers my thoughts on the S key nerf, so let's take a look at the M1 buff. Like I mentioned, this essentially removed end lag from the 5th M1. The big change that this entails is the fact that you can no longer punish whiffed M1s, in turn, reducing the skill gap. Instead of thinking about the possible punishment that could come from missing an M1, you can brainlessly click and not have to worry about any repercussions. I mean, why was this even added? If you miss an M1, you should be able to get punished for missing it because you made a mistake. Your M1 did not connect to your target, so in turn, some form of counterplay should exist to punish that mistake. Additionally, M1 attack canceling no longer exists. If you don't know what I'm talking about, prior to this update there was a small window after each M1 where you could use an ability without end lag. This is now gone. You can use an ability anytime after M1ing, or more specifically, after downslamming someone. There's now less effort required to perform certain combos, and a new player, who just picked up the game, can do the exact same combo as you. Even though this tech was simple to perform, it still increased the skill gap between players and required some game knowledge to use effectively. This is no longer the case. 100 to 0 combos will also be much more common after this point. The end lag on downslams wasn't just there to stop you from infinite M1ing someone. It also limited these combos. With this barrier now gone, hundreds of untested combos got added to the game. Just take a look at the few of the ones I found. In summary, the S key nerf did nothing to stop track stars because running is usually caused by a character's moveset or specific maps. And interestingly enough, PAR didn't even ask the balance team, the group of players who actually play the game and are supposed to give feedback on balance before implementing this change. The only actual change that this update brought was making movement worse, and nothing else. The M1 buff was also pointless and only made it more difficult to punish mistakes and reduce the skill gap. I'm making this video with the hopes that these updates get reverted because I'm not having too much fun in the current state of the game. I still plan on playing after this point, but probably only to record a video or two. If any devs are watching this, please, just for once, listen to the community and revert this update.